Hello engineers, this is how to make a rocket nose cone and how to take an image and throw it into Fusion 360 and create that shape. So again, it's kind of the same process that we used before. I'm going to create a snip of this. That's not what I want. There we go. So I'm going to do this, do new. Don't want that. Move this stuff out of the way here. Close that out. Okay. So now I'm going to create this nose cone. So I'm going to snip that. Oh. All right. I'm going to save it. And I'm just going to call this Kraepelin nose cone. Don't know how to spell today. I'm going to keep this as a JPEG and click save. Okay. And close that out. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Fusion. I'm going to open up a new tab here. I'm going to create a new sketch. I'm going to click on one of the planes, doesn't matter which one. And then I'm going to go and insert the picture that I just snipped. So there's my nose cone. And I'm just going to select this face right here. I'm going to kind of move it out of the way so I can see a little bit better. And then I'm going to click OK. So again, we're going to do it kind of the same way that we did it before. We're going to calibrate this sketch here first. So let's go back to our nose cone, close this out. And let's kind of take a look at our nose cone. So our nose cone length is 3 inches. Our base diameter is 1 inch. So that's going to be the distance from here to here. So let's use that to calibrate our nose cone. Okay, so go back to Fusion, and so I'm going to go to my canvases, open this up. I'm going to right click and calibrate, and so I'm going to zoom in here so I can see it a little bit easier and try to do the best that I can. And we're going to change that to 1 inch, and there we go. So now I've got my nose cone. So I'm going to move this again. So I'm going to edit canvas and let's see. Don't really want to do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to line it up so that the peak will be on this green line and that this line right here, the base of it, will be on the horizontal line here. So I'm going to just try to line that up as best I can. Looks pretty good. I'll zoom in here just a little bit more. Pretty happy with that. Probably go a little bit more, but that's fine. Okay, and so then I'm going to click OK, and so you can see that it did change its shape a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use what's called a revolve function. So I'm going to actually start by drawing a solid line. So I'm going to select the line tool, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to this icon right here, which is construction. I'm going to find my origin, which is this spot right here. I'm going to go a little bit below it. I'm going to kind of hover over it first, but not click, so it finds it. Then I'm going to bring it straight down. You can kind of see I've got like this light blue dotted line. And so I'm going to click, and I'm going to go straight up. Okay, and I'm going to go past the nose cone. Doesn't matter how far you go. We're just kind of using this as a reference. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw the rest of these lines. And so I'm going to start by, I'm going to take the snap off here, and I'm going to draw this shape as best I can. And so this is going to be the tricky part, is I need to actually make a little bit of a shoulder here. And so I'm going to finish that line. And that's hard to see, but if you zoom way in here, you can see that there's a shoulder here. I may want to actually bring this line in just a little bit more, but that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see if I can do it this way. I'm going to establish a point up here at the very top. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to throw an arced line in here. So let's see if we can go ahead and do that. So if I click on create, and so I have some more options here that are available to me than what I can see right here. And if I go to arc and go to 3 points, let's see if this works. So I'm going to click on this point here and this point here, and then I can kind of bend this out, and that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So right click and then hit OK. Okay, so I think for now I'm just going to kind of show you what it's going to look like. I'm going to get rid of or hide this picture. Now you can see that I've got half of my nose cone. So now what I want to do is I want to use what's called a revolve function. So it'll take this profile shape and it'll spin it however much I want. In this case, I'm going to go 360 degrees. So I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, and then I'm going to revolve. And so that's this tool right here. And so it says first to select the profile, which is going to be this shape right here. I don't know if it'll let me do it. I think it will. And then let's see, that'll be the axis. Oh, I know why it won't let me do it, because I probably have to actually close the shape in. So let's go back to the sketch. So I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to put a line in here anyways. Let's see if that makes it work. Revolve. So yep, it automatically picks up the profile because I have a closed loop. So now I just need to select my axis and then click OK, and there you go. Now I've got my nose cone right here. Okay, so now our nose cone is solid, and we don't want it solid. If we go back to Open Rocket and we look, we can see that it has a wall thickness of 0.079 inches. So let's actually create that wall thickness in Fusion 360, and then let's kind of verify that we actually did it as well, because it's going to be kind of hard to see. All right, so if I go to Modify and Shell, and so I need to select the faces and the body. So I want to do everything. So I can probably just click and hold over everything. So you can see that it selected 4 different parts. So that would be the very bottom here. That's 1. And then here's 2. And then this part right in here. And then the tapered pointy part as well. Okay. And so I want my inside thickness to be 0.079. And I got that off of Open Rocket. So I can simply click OK. Okay, well, it doesn't look like anything happened, but remember, we're creating that wall thickness that's on the inside. So just to verify this, and you don't have to do this, but you can just double check to make sure, and sometimes it might be a good idea to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually split the body. And so I'm going to select the body that I want to split. So that's going to be this right here. And then I need to select my splitting tool. So how am I actually going to split this? What I think works best is to actually come over here and use a cutting plane. Or not a cutting plane, but a plane that I will cut with. So I'm going to just kind of rotate it a little bit here. So I'm looking for the plane, this plane right here. That's the one that I actually want to select. So I'm going to actually click on that plane, or I can come over here and click on it as well. And you can see that it kind of creates this kind of like circle around it. That's going to actually show it as being cut. Click OK. And now I've got 2 parts. You can see there's like a seam down the middle. So what I can do now is I can go over to these like kind of little marshmallow looking things, and if I click on the eyeball, it'll actually hide half of that body. And so here I can go in and see that I've got the correct wall thickness. Okay, so I said it had to be 0.079 according to the software. So I'm going to use this inspect tool. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to measure from this line here to this line here. And so the distance that I'm looking for is 0.079, which I have. Okay, so I did it the way that I wanted it to do. So that's good. All right, so then you would continue on with the same kind of format. You would go ahead and save this file, and then you would want to export it as a drawing file, or actually you don't want to export it as a drawing file. You want to export it as an STL file. Let's kind of undo some of this here, and then I'll kind of show you how to do that. Okay, so now I'm back to one solid part. So now I'm going to go to File and Export. Oh, and I have to save it first, so I'm going to just save it with my name. And then hit save, and then I will export it as an STL file. So now it's currently going to save as a DWG, but I want an STL, so I'm going to have to scroll down with my mouse wheel and find STL. So that's the format that works really well when we go to 3D print. Click export, and then we'll wait for this blue status bar to kind of continue on with the completion. I guess the only word of caution, or the only thing I would say about this part, is that if you look at your OpenRocket file, you want to make sure that this fits into the tube, and so we need to make sure that the body tube, the inner diameter is 0.938, so we want to make sure that this part of the nose cone is a little bit smaller than 0.938. We don't want it at exactly 0.938 because theoretically you have the same measurement, so you'd have a very tight fit. So you would probably want to check that in Fusion 360 first to make sure that that's what you want. From here, I'll open up my CAD program. I'm going to go and create a new project, and I'm going to actually throw that in here. And so so these are kind of extra steps that you probably won't really have to do, but I'll still show them anyways. So it's actually going to be saved in the same area that I saved it before. So I'm going to click on this. It's right there. Click open, and it should throw it in there. And there you can kind of see it's sitting in here. So if I were to actually print this out, I can estimate how long it'll take to print. And so I'll look at the whole shape and figure out how long that'll take. I don't really like that orientation though of the part. So it's going to take 1 hour and 15 minutes to 3D print that. Orient the face to the plane. I want that on the bottom. And there we go. It's sitting right on the bottom there. So, yep, I would just kind of double check that shoulder distance before we actually go ahead and start printing that out. But that would be it. Okay, good luck. Any questions about anything? As always, be sure to ask. All right.